What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to episode numero 5 de the Chopper Fit channel. This is take number 2 of recording this episode because yours truly did not turn on his microphone the first time. So I guess you could say I will be well practiced at this. Probably not though. So I thought what I would do today, since this is episode number 5, is provide you my very first top 5 list. Now for me, this top 5 list is going to be subjective to myself, and not necessarily saying this is going to be everyone's opinion, but from my experience with 3 years on my Dyna, this is the route I wish I would have taken going forward. So let's start with answer number 1. Survey says...
Naked grandma!
Naked, huh? I don't want to see that either.
Stage 1 upgrade. So the stage 1 upgrade for a mid 2000s and above, pretty much any Harley at this point in time, is going to be intake, exhaust, and a tuner of some sort. So what I am running on mine is currently a Screaming Eagle heavy breather that I was able to pick up secondhand from somebody. The exhaust is a Bassani Road Rage 2-in-1 exhaust, all chromed out and shiny looking. And I am using the FP3 tuner from Vance & Hines. Now the reason I am putting this as my number 1 go-to is because
Darn right, more power.
it already had short shots on it, and there was a really bad deceleration pop. And coming from the car world, I know that if you tune anything, it's generally going to run a lot better. So I believe, for me personally, the first things I will always do to a bike will be air cleaner, exhaust, and a tuner. I've had 0 issues in the 3 years that I've had that combination of things done. Now, as you can see here, I currently do have the heavy breather from Screaming Eagle Performance from the Harley Davidson lineup. This is an adequate setup. However, I have found I don't necessarily care for the exposed filter. I could get a rain sock for it, but my leg also tends to bump into it from time to time, and it can get a little annoying. What I have in my garage is a Vance & Hines VO2 naked intake. I'm just waiting on a stock air cleaner cover from a 09 lowrider to get in, then I'll install that and change it up a little bit. As for the exhaust, well, you guys should know the history of my exhaust by now. This is my 4th one. This is by far my favorite exhaust. Granted, I've only had it on a couple weeks, but this is the best quality, best overall appearance, best sounding exhaust that I've had on to date. As for my tuner, I am currently running the Vance & Hines FP3, and the reason I went with this route was my buddy Harley Woods. He told me that this is going to be the easiest approach to tuning my bike, and once I figured out you have to have the bike in the on position in order for it to actually function and load, it's been a really easy to use device. If I would have read the instructions, it would have saved me 30 minutes. reason I like this setup is it's Bluetooth. I can auto tune it, and I really have no qualms about running this tune. I know it's going to be a safe yet effective tune. So that brings us to numero dos. And this is one that I kind of have missed on in the 3 years. And it should have been higher up there as far as changing my rider triangle or my rider profile on the bike. So number 2 is finding that seat that you love and you can ride distance on. I went through the stock seat, which was adequate actually. I used it for about a year. And then I used various other solo seats, a couple other 2-up seats. And the one thing that I noticed with every single one of these seats is it changes your seating height and seating position on the motorcycle. So it doesn't make sense to get other parts added to the motorcycle until you're happy with how you're sitting in it. So what I finally decided on is the Saddleman step-up seat with the diamond stitch pattern on it. The reason I went with this seat is I had heard great reviews about Saddleman and their products, but I never actually been able to experience one firsthand. On my wife's Sportster, I was able to find an Explorer Saddleman seat, and she absolutely loved it. So I got the Saddleman step-up seat, and it is very comfortable, although I will say it was not comfortable at first. But anyone in the community will warn you, this seat takes a while to break in. I think I got about 1,500 miles on mine now, and it's now hitting the ideal comfort zone for me. So the next thing I would hit up towards, as far as modification would go for that overall comfort, would be your risers and handlebar setup, or just your handlebar setup if you go with like an ape hanger, for example. Reason being is now that you are in the ideal sitting position for yourself, now you can figure out where I want my arms to be. And so I've changed out my handlebars and risers pretty much every time I changed out my seat. Hence, if we go back to my first point, the seat is the important part. It's the core section that you need to have before you start changing other positionings on the bike. So the ideal setup for me right now is I'm currently running FX DLS 4-inch risers with a 3-inch extension. This is mated just to a simple drag bar that I picked up off of JP Cycles. And as far as where my arms are in relation to my shoulder, I do have a slight downward approach. So I'm not losing that blood flow because I'm not having my hands way up here ape style. I have run higher. I've run 10-inch bitwell risers with this same bar, and honestly the bike I think did handle better, but my arms went numb a little bit more than I cared for. And that's not a good feeling when you're cruising 70 miles per hour down the highway with no cruise control. The next item on your top 5 list should be your suspension. This has been the overall biggest comfort move I've made on the bike, minus the seat. I was running stock suspension until this year, and then decided to upgrade on a budget to the FX DLS emulsion shocks. Some guy had about 2,000 miles on his, pulled them off, went to something more expensive, and so I picked them up. Night and day difference. Not just in the handling aspect of it, but in the way when you hit a bump, it's not as harsh or painful anymore. I found I was easily riding about 2 times longer on the motorcycle just from the day I put the shocks on. Very, very awesome product to have. Now, I would love to have a better set. I would love to have a set of Olin's or Legends, Revos, something along those lines, but I don't have $700 to drop on suspension right now. So for the time being, it was a adequate upgrade, and it's performed very well. The last thing that I would say, if you're going to be going over any sort of distance or any sort of comfort on your rides, would be some sort of wind deflection. I do like being in the open air, but when I'm on those highways traveling 70 to 75, it's nice to get a little bit of a break off the chest. I've been through 6 or 7 different fairing windshield setups, and I can tell you my 2 favorite ones now. The one that I had on the bike previous to this was the Memphis Shades Cafe Racer style fairing. It sits up a little bit taller than my current fairing does, and it blocks a little bit more off the chest. I didn't get tired of the look, but I knew my wife could definitely use some protection as well, and you know, the whole setup like that is not cheap. Well, the Sportsler she has utilizes the same part number from Memphis Shades for the fairing. I had a set of clamps lying around, so all I had to buy was the mounting bracket. So when I took that off of mine, I had to put something back on there, because I do love the look of a small fairing on there. So I did go with the, you guessed it, FX DLS Bikini fairing, or Anarchy fairing as they so put it. I can definitely feel a difference as far as the wind pressure goes. I do get it quite a bit more than with the Cafe, but I kind of like it. I can go 70, 75 and it not be overly tiring. This whole episode until this turn that you just saw here was into about a 20-mile-per-hour headwind, and it was great. I mean, as long as that wind is constant and in my face, I don't mind it one bit. So, gentlemen, lady, so those are the top 5 items I really have that I'll always try to do with a motorcycle. That top 5 list is part of my decision making on looking towards my next motorcycle. So I hope you all like the video. If you like it, give it a like. Feel free to subscribe as well. I really am trying to put out some quality content with this channel. Not that everyone else isn't, but I'm trying to, what I'm trying to do with the channel is reinforce some other people's opinions and maybe show a different perspective on someone who's only been riding a couple years. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and sign out here, go watch some football this afternoon with the fam. I hope you all have a good rest of your day, and I will catch you on the dark side. See you guys. Out.